French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne AFB said that on Sunday, he would meet with opposition leaders at the beginning of the next month, and that he was open for weeks after protests against retirement reforms. She said that she would not use the controversial mechanism that allows it to force it by non-popular reforms without parliamentary votes other than budget issues. Borne spoke with AFB on Tuesday before another action day, organized by trade unions to protest the pension from 62 to 64. Emphasizing that it is open to meeting with all social partners, he added, "We must find the right way. We must calm down." However, he said that legislation will continue to retire, which will endure the Constitution, subject to approved by Constitutional Council. The opposition parties hopes that the Council will be ruled against the government on reform because they are forced through Parliament without voting. The Borne Constitution's 49.3.3.3, commonly called 49.3, used draft legislation to force National Assembly through National Assembly through National Assembly. This final application triggered 2 insecure votes, one of which the government survived only with 9 votes and reacted on the streets. The protest against retirement reform turned into biggest internal crisis of French President Emmanuel Macron's second task. The police and protesters have regularly aired in Paris other cities since reform was forced. Opposition pressure since he was the Prime Minister in May last year, Borne has used 49.311 times. However, on Sunday, AFB said he would not use it outside the financial issues. When asked about their priorities for coming weeks, "I have 2 goals: be calm in face of these tensions, and take a step respond expectations of French people." Macron assigned to build a program for the next stage of his administration, and will meet him and other senior members of the government on Monday. Borne, in week of April 3, including the opposition, including parliamentary groups and political parties, dialogue, and to implement country, he said. However, Jean-Luc Melenchon, a former presidential candidate for the French Unbown party on the left, called on Sunday for retirement reforms to withdraw and depart. In the 2022 elections, Macron, who challenged the Macron, said Borne, the president should resign or resign. On Tuesday, the government faces a new test because the unions call for a new day of action against retirement reform. Police criticized since January, hundreds of thousands of French people walked peacefully against the reform. However, a wave of strikes, including Paris's Destusee collectors, which Paris left full of garbage, and sometimes violent protests against the government's reform attracted increasing interest in international media. Security forces encountered criticism for saying that critics had heavy tactics to deal with protests. The Council of Europe said on Friday, peaceful protesters and journalists should be protected from police violence and arbitrary arrest. On Saturday, Borne and Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin defended the police by condemning the violence of hardcore protesters. On Sunday, IGPN, Interior Unit of French Police, said that protests have opened 17 investigations about events since beginning of January 19. Last week, the French authorities, King of England III, who will begin on Sunday.He announced that Charles was postponed because of the current unrest. A protester was fighting for his life on Sunday after a demonstration on the water storage facilities in the Southwest Sainte-Soline village. BUR-JJEA.